Identify and book the world's best speakers for your next event. MENA Speakers is the leading speakers and MC bureau in the Middle East. We bring global talent to the region and have established the region as a key global hub for speakers. Inspire and motivate your audience. Find exactly what you are looking for by working closely with us to assist you in understanding the cost-benefit analysis tied to selecting a speaker for any event. Ensure that your audience is educated, engaged, and empowered. Connect with us for a quick response and tailored advice. Book your speakers now.
Do you have an all-star HR team? You may feel your team is already performing at a high level, but let's take a closer look. Would your company's top leaders and employees agree that your HR team are operating at a high level? Are team members able to influence top executives on difficult topics? Are team members' business and strategy focused on the challenges the organization is facing? Does the executive team trust your direct reports as advisors on human capital issues? If you can answer yes to these questions, you have built an outstanding team. If you feel there is room for improvement, Strategy Focused Group can create a custom development program to elevate the quality of your HR team. We use HCI certification programs as well as non-certified HRBP MBA Masterclass to give your team a laser focus on the business and strategy. Please email us at info@strategyfocusedgroup.com.
Good morning, good evening, depending upon what part of the world you're in. If it's Friday, it must be the CEO series, where we bring together global leaders, innovators, disruptors. Today, we're honored to have my dear friend, Paul Lalovich, who's the managing partner of Organizational Effectiveness and Strategic Strategy Execution. He has designed and led business transformation and change management programs at numerous countries and companies throughout the world. He is seen as a strategic leader that designs management solutions for C-level teams. And I am honored to have my friend from Dubai. You see the background where he is. So welcome, my friend.
Thank you for such a wonderful and formal introduction. Ron, really appreciate it, and I'm very happy to be one of your guests here.
Well, I'm glad to have you, my man. But, first of all, I want to congratulate you on the recent Web3 conference that you produced in Lagos, because it appears that was a huge success. So where did the inspiration come from to put that together? I mean, you just don't come up with an idea and make it happen. How did you walk us through that?
Oh, boy. Well, thank you for warm-up question. I was hoping for something lighter, but here we are. So just a bit of a context. We had a few weeks back a conference. It was Web3 Delight Lagos. It was the first event in the series of events. We'll basically start at the beginning. So the journey started several months back when we embarked into this Web3 space with one of our tech products, Synthetic Equity. And then on the back of that experience, we realized the massive opportunity that Web3 presents. And this opportunity is further amplified in the growth markets. So the math is very simple. We decided to kick off this journey in Nigeria based on our research and understanding of the potential of that market. Africa's largest economy, 220 million people who are ready to do something major. Mm-hmm. And I'm not looking at growth markets from the consumer perspective. I'm looking at growth markets from the growth perspective. We passionately believe that this is going to be the springboard of the next revolution that's going to hit on a planetary level this society. Because honestly, as we have come out of this event, made some really interesting friendships, have, a full bag of experiences that are all positive, I must say. We are more than ever confident that this is the way to go. So to answer your question in a very short and formal way, growth markets are the future.
Okay.
Make no mistake. Simple as that.
Yeah. That was a huge success. But you know what? We were together maybe 4 months, maybe a month before that at the Future Innovation Summit, where you pitched the concept of synthetic equity. So
Yeah.
that entire conference, Future Innovation Summit, was amazing because one of the themes of the conference was about meta. And people like yourselves kind of educated the audience. So walk us through the synthetic equity concept.
So the concept is very simple. It's been around for, better part of last 70 years. Synthetic
Really?
equity is based on the methodology of phantom shares. So this is, try and tested way of developing pay for performance. This is really nothing new. What's new is the technology that's going to empower and enable scalability. So what you get in a synthetic equity is your traditional phantom shares that you can build on the back of the consulting support of likes of Mercer, Conferry, and whatnot. But what we are doing here, we're building it for the masses. So it's not only that the executive team is going to be, empowered through this pay for performance model. You will be able to bring it about for the much larger audience in your organization. So you will be able to stimulate the performance and innovation on the shop floor all the way to the corner office of your executives. So that's what the synthetic equity is about. It's essentially tying up the performance to the overall performance of the organization without diluting the ownership of the organization. So what we do, we just build it on the blockchain. So you can have the scalability, you have all the benefits of the technology that it brings it in that shape and form.
Yeah, there's so much conversation today, about blockchain and crypto, and for a certain segment of the business population, everybody's trying to get their heads wrapped around it. Everyone is trying to get their heads wrapped around it because it seems so far-fetched. But again, if you think back 10 years ago, what we're doing now seems far-fetched. So how do you see this moving into the normal consumer side? What would be some benefits from the consumer side when we talk about blockchain and all these things?
Sure. So the real solution in the Web3 space are going to tackle the real life problems. So as I have just shared the example, we're tackling the problem of answering the question, what's in it for me? Why would I, put an extra effort into achieving, extraordinary results if, I don't participate equitably in the share of the rewards? So that's our story. But on the same narrative, you have multitude of solutions being currently built on the blockchain platforms that are tackling real life problems. So what's really going to be the difference here is the mass adoption that is going to be led by the generational change. Okay. So we're the old guard, Ron. Unfortunately, time is unforgiving. I just came out of the meeting, and I'm trying still to wrap my head around the stuff that I heard.
Yeah.
And we're agile dynamics. Yeah. And in this space, we don't seem to be coming across very agile or very dynamic.
Yeah.
So the pace is totally different. But what's the key benefit? It's the ownership. I think if I can summarize it in one word, you can actually peg, your property in this digital space, and you can bring it with you, be it intellectual property, be it physical property. Okay. You are able, to attach the ownership to it, and I think that's the game changer.
So what do you see as the biggest impediment as you talk to leaders, and it could be from a different generation, as we just laughingly spoke about, and you're trying to educate them on the business case of this new transformation? Because one of the key things you mentioned is generational dynamics. You have younger leaders inside of organizations that are interested in these kinds of things. And one of the things I've noticed even from when we were together at Future Innovation Summit, was the vast majority of speakers were younger speakers. They didn't have a lot of the so-called old guard getting up and kind of selling the concept of Web3, a Meta, or whatever it was. What do you see as the biggest impediment for our clients? Because we both run consulting firms, to try and educate them on the business case and why you really need to give some thought to that.
Well, I think you spelled out the answer. You know, it's exactly what we do for a living. Change management.
Change management.
You know,
okay.
It's all coming down to that. It's you know, out with the old, in with the new, and you know, all the good and bad that comes with it. You know, we've been doing things like this for many years. It worked out very well for us. Why would we do it any way different? You know, so answering this kind of questions is really the key to this transformation. So yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. You finish. You're the expert.
There's nothing. There is really no. I wish, you know. I'm very humbled, you know, with my recent experiences. You know what they say. You really truly understand what you don't know when you know.
Yeah.
The gap is massive. We continuously have to learn. We continuously have to evolve, or we will be outpaced and displaced. And I think the biggest change is actually this, you know, generational change that is ultimately going to lead to displacement of the current juggernauts. And those giants are already, you know, crumbling in front of our eyes. And there is a bright new world. And the best part, it's coming from corners, you know, of the industry and sectors as well as the world that you are least expecting it. So you just need to plug yourself into this new bright world to understand the real potential.
Because I noticed the speaker lineup that you had at Web3 that you produced in Lagos, all younger people, dynamic speakers, presentations, and all these kinds of things. And I just found, I was really proud of the fact that you chose Nigeria to do the developing country, and you were going to produce it from there, because you could have easily done that in Dubai or some other so-called name brand kind of company. So why did you choose Nigeria?
Well, first of all, because as I said, like, you know, we firmly believe in the potential of the growth markets. We believe that the next unicorns are going to be coming, you know, in the large number from these growth markets. I believe if you can really look at a single greatest driver of change, it's the challenges, you know, that you're trying to solve. And rest assured, Africa has plenty of challenges. So if you look at the challenges, the fuel of growth, it's right there. If you look at the potential, and just a couple of fun facts, 99%, I would say, like almost everybody was a graduate. You know, we had like, you know, over 1,000 people registered. We have their LinkedIn profiles. We have like, you know, their credentials. So I speak like, you know, from a position of certainty. So that's extremely high percentage. There was a large number of ladies, you know, so that was extremely encouraging.
Okay.
So, you know, for all that talk, like, you know, we don't have enough female leaders, you know, watch out for Nigeria. You know, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of ladies coming very strong in the very near future. And ultimately the passion, you know, like you speak about young, actually the speakers were quite old guard. You know, in the audience, we had like, you know, some really, really young people, like, you know, high school, you know, juniors in college, you know, so there was a completely different demographics from what you would find typically in the more mature markets. And I think this was really exciting. They brought the totally next level of energy. What was also very significant, we didn't have a typical conference. So there was no product placement. There was no sales.
Okay.
We barely, like, I don't think we even mentioned our brands, and we financed the whole event. So that was a resounding success. Audience loved it. And the best part was not even speakers. It was the startup pitch. Honestly, like, you know, if you have time, check it out. Like, you know, we had like, you know, 5-6 startups from Nigeria, and that level of energy and passion they brought, like, you know, in those, like, you know, 15 minutes, if you can bottle that energy, you can make fortune.
Wow.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I didn't see that, but thank you for telling me that. So I just made a note that I'm going to go back and check that out.
I'll share that. And the best part was the way we structured this startup pitch, it was completely, crowd managed. So the way you get on the stage is by getting votes on Twitter. And the way you win, you have to engage the audience, and you need to get your votes on Twitter. Okay. So it was a really interesting battle. Like people were complaining, oh well, these guys are using bots. I'm like, hey, everything's fair. Use bots. Figure it out. That's part of your ingenuity. You want to win the game, that's part of the ecosystem. So manage it, navigate it. And it was really, really exciting. What I really appreciated is the fair play, the friendly manner in how the competitors handled each other. Very mature, very, very professional. And I have only the words of praise to say for those young people, and I'm very, very excited and confident about their future.
It was amazing. Because one of the things as I was watching parts of it, I kept going back and forth and watching parts of it. I contrasted it back to our summit that we did in Dubai a while back. And then I looked at this summit and looked at the speakers, and it looks as if, from my side, it looked as if the demographics were different.
Absolutely. Yeah. The audience, I would say the average age was in early 20s.
Yes.
And it's definitely different in terms of, the professional background. These are, all startups, so young professionals trying to make it in this new world,
So how would you, thinking about stepping back, all of this is new, we're moving into something that's totally new. How do you advise a government that was basically, I'm sure the government officials were watching that, and they see that we have all this talent. They may not understand the concept. What advice would you give to governmental leaders, and I'll say Nigeria, about Web3 and the implications in Nigeria, and how could they nurture that? How could they take from what you did as a startup, so to speak, and blow it out?
It's extremely difficult. I'll tell you why. For a numerous of reasons. I think this generational gap, is making it very difficult for the leaders to recognize the potential. That's number one. Also, the mindset is focused on the resource-based economy, but most importantly, on a traditional economy, even if it's detached from the resources. This space is very ambiguous, and it's very abstract for many people. So I would say it's very difficult. I think the best advice I could make is just at least if you cannot help, try, to stay away from making it more difficult. Let the natural dynamics kick in. Let those young, ambitious people, do what they do best, and that's innovate. And if you cannot, make a meaningful, supportive, interventions, try not to trip them, so they fall.
Okay. We got a hi from one of our friends in Dubai, Dorota Walters. She says, hi, Ron. Hi, Paul. Great to see you both. Hot topic. How soon do you think large corporations will be ready for this concept, and what would need to happen? That was from Dorota Walters.
Yeah, sure. So my personal, again, this is my personal position, not even representing the firm that I work for. I hope never. That's my honest feedback. Absolutely. I didn't think they would bring any value. Short of destroying something beautiful that is currently being developed. I really believe that Web3 is a potential, for the smaller players, for the new players to come into this ecosystem and to bring the fresh, breath of air into this space. I think large corporations, if anything, they would just bring the old ways of doing business, monopolism, and pretty much crush anything worthwhile working for. So I hope never.
So because they come in and complicate everything. We got it simplified, and you come in and complicate everything because of the mindset.
Pretty much, yes. So you see now why we don't have sponsors, so yeah. But I think honestly, what is the big game here? We believe that by just helping people that are following, they are part of the audience, if we manage to pique their curiosity, their interest in this space, and they eventually get like immersed into this environment and they become successful, that's going to be also part of our success. And that's exactly where we are at this point. We're not interested in big brands. I don't really see big benefit like of Nike or Adidas, like, getting into this space. I would like to see small entrepreneurs take off. I would be rather looking at small entrepreneurs in the growth markets, getting some of the wealth from this space in order to build the equilibrium in the capital distribution around the world.
So what if we looked at it this way from the large corporation? If we were to say, this is going to sound so corporate, we build a division or a function to handle the Web3 kind of approach, and we put a significant person in charge of that and let them figure it out and say, you know what, do what you got to do, give us some results at the end of the month, go.
Yeah. It doesn't work, Ron. If I'm not mistaken, you come from a military family, it's very visible, in the military, how this does not work. The specialized forces, are never part of the large units. It never works that way. So your best, and the most advanced specialists can never be part of the large, unit, because they don't move at the same pace. They don't have the same mindset. They don't have the same physique. So same thing, applies to this space. You can't corporatize these birds. Once you clip their wings, they're no longer what you hired them for. Okay. So the short answer is, it's very difficult, to bring these players into this space. They will lose their magic dust.
Okay, so as a corporate person, as well as kind of keep my fingers in the entrepreneurial side, if I'm corporate and I'm looking at all of this opportunities, I got to get in it in some way. I have to get in it in some way. And I've got to figure that out. Could we cross-pollinate or whatever? And you're saying from your side, nope.
Absolutely not. So look what the journey of Agile Dynamics is all about. And again, this is not advertisement. This is basically stating the facts. So what we are planning to do is bring the formal education into this space. So we are partnering with universities, and we're introducing a postgraduate degree in Web3 tech and business. And that's going to kick off in 2023. Oh, wow. So this is our contribution. So what we are doing in this space, we are happy just to learn, you see? So our team of consultants is getting involved just to learn and to soak this know-how. And in return, we're bringing back to this community in the shape and form the best we can. So this is going to be, the formal education that is still a requirement, not only from the employment perspective, but from the immigration perspective. You can't become a digital nomad, without that piece of paper. Okay. And we want to make sure that we bring it at a very, very cost-effective level that is going to be further offset by sponsorship. So the advice for the large corporations, invest in the next generation. Spend some of your marketing budgets in educating the future leaders, and try to do it without expecting an immediate ROI. Try to look long-term.
Yeah. Quarter to quarter.
Good luck.
Quarter to quarter. What are the numbers? Give me the numbers. So tell us about the program that you're developing with universities. How's that gonna? That's a degree program or?
Absolutely. It's internationally recognized and accredited university. At this stage, I still cannot, share more information. But the magic is actually that the curriculum is developed by the team of academics and practitioners. Okay. So the catch is we are trying to build something that is currently applied on the streets. So it's really going to be ahead of the curve, because the typical, life cycle of developing curriculum of this magnitude is anywhere between 12 and 24 months. Yeah. We want to shorten the time to market. We want to build something very relevant. And the accent is not going to be on a tech only. It's going to bring the business component. So we want to empower the graduates with the superpowers of a business as well as the tech experts. Yeah. So they can become entrepreneurs, not necessarily employees.
You keep going back to stay entrepreneurs. Don't go into big things. Don't go into big functions. But Paul, we all came from that.
Exactly. Hence the advice.
We came from that and we made it work. So why couldn't? And but I think sometimes when you talk about that, if I had to go back into an organization as the so-called head of XYZ, I probably would get a lot of pushback, and I say, you know what, it's not even worth it. Let me just go back and do what I was doing because I enjoy Monday mornings.
Exactly. So to be quite frank with you, there are massive benefits, of the experience in climbing the corporate ladder, and definitely you will meet great people, great minds. There is a huge uptake, but to be frank with you, if you can make that choice again, I think building the capabilities early on and jumping on that entrepreneurial bandwagon definitely makes more sense, just from a sheer perspective of being in charge of your own destiny. Come on, man, we work on the strategic workforce planning. We know how those stories end up in tears. So
which I have to do as soon as we log off, doing the strategic workforce planning out of Europe. So that's kind of the deal.
Yep. So you know what I'm talking about.
So let's go back and talk about you as a person. We've been knowing each other for years and years, and I think the first time we met, I was monitoring a conference in Dubai. Must have been 5 years ago, and you were one of the speakers, and you got up and you owned the stage. I mean, you just rocked it. I'm like, who is this guy? And that was kind of the first time. But we've always kept in touch. We've done some work together and all of that. When did it hit you from the corporate side to say, you know what, I want to pull out and do my own thing?
Yeah. Well, this is a public space, so I would rather, keep some cards close to the chest. But let me put it in a very kind of a blunt way. It was not necessarily a personal choice. I was in a golden cage. Yeah, man. I got sacked. It was just one morning, got bad news. They're like, your contract is over. So, yeah.
I call it, my term for that, I call it getting ambushed. You walk in and say.
But to be fair, it was actually for the better. And even internally, I got a massive support and advice. Listen, the next. It was like that movie, the Up in the Air, George Clooney. Yeah. Was this next junction is going to be even better. But it was better. That's the funny part, because it really turned out. I don't know, was it through hard effort and grind or sheer luck? Time will tell, But it is definitely, a positive, change.
Yeah. Well, I think you're onto something, because as I said, I keep going back to Future Innovation Summit, and that was my first foray into listening to all these speakers and the concepts and the future. And it was kind of taking a crystal ball, looking into what could be, what will be, not could be, but what will be in the future. And I think you're onto something. I think you're really onto something, because the Web3, when I first saw that, I'm like, whoa, okay. And I sent you a side note. And I'm watching this, and I'm watching all of the comments, and I'm like, you pulled it off. You absolutely.
Man, the math is very simple, Ron. Okay. Honestly, if you have 1,000 people in the event in Lagos, you get the postgraduate program out. You manage to find enough funds to sponsor those kids. You want to tell me that out of those 1,000 future graduates, you're not going to get 1 or 2 success stories?
Yeah.
Do you need more success stories? And the scalability is there. Now, the university, the education is recognizing the benefit of the virtual classroom. So the scale is there. There are plenty of talented, faculty out there that are ready to share their knowledge. And I think they're going to be even more passionate if they can see they can make a difference. The education system is clearly up for disruption. I mean, does it make sense to pay $100,000 for a Netflix subscription with the brand logo of a major academic institution? Mm-hmm. Seriously?
Yeah. Paul,
and then
you're such a disruptor. You just come in and just kind of
too much.
Paul, you're kind of like the person that walks by. Somebody's putting a puzzle together.
I'm a father of 2 kids that has to cough out money for university now.
So you're putting all the puzzle together. The pieces are falling into place, and you come by and say, "Hit it." And everything starts over again.
I'm sorry.
No, because every time we talk, your ideas are so disruptive, and you have this kind of disruptive mindset. So you're saying if it's calm, we got to break it and do it all over again. Are you going to be teaching? Are you going to be teaching in this program? Once it gets,
I'm not sure. I really like, even at the conference, I like to take the backstage.
okay.
So if I'm organizing something, I don't want to be necessarily like, taking the spotlight. So I'm pretty sure and confident that we'll find plenty of much better and suitable, faculty to deliver this program than me. And yeah,
That's debatable. That's debatable.
Exactly.
That's debatable. Well, you know what? Let's take a commercial break and we come right back.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you,
cool.
sir.
Cool.
Help you elevate your team. Email us at info@strategyfocusedgroup.com.
Welcome back. Let's talk about you a little more. So, as you look back on your career, what are you most proud of?
Well, to be fair, I think the success, the way I measure it, is defined by the success of people that work with me.
Okay.
So the people that I report to, that people that report to me, and as well as my peers. So if I can be a factor that contributes to their overall success, that's what I would. That's something I would like to consider as a moment that I'm proud of. So. Looking back, like I would like to think, and maybe I'm subjective, but I would like to think that most of the people that I collaborated, worked, or I've been part of a team of have been like, progressively improving in their careers, in their professional growth. So that's what I'm proud of. If I can make a positive impact on somebody.
Well, you know what? Let me just tell you this story. Every time we meet, last time we met was at Emirates Mall, and we had coffee that morning. Every time we meet, as I'm going away, I'm thinking about things you said, and it's always kind of like warp speed ahead of my thought process. And I'm like, wow, this guy's really got it going. That's a personal note.
You're too kind.
No, I'm just telling you, because we sat there for like an hour talking about things, what we're going to be doing together and all those kind of things. And as I'm on the metro going back home, and I'm thinking, wow, okay, this was that. Okay, cool. I'm trying to because I'm trying to bring everything that you gave me, which was disruptive, back into my realm of, because I'm still kind of a corporate guy, but I said, when I grow up, I want to be a disruptor. I want to think about the big things and all those kinds of things. So tell us about how you were major influences in your life that shaped you as the disruptor. I would say leader, but the disruptor that you want to be. What were some major influences in your life?
So just by design, like, I'm a cynical person, I never had like, a very strong aptitude towards conformity or respect for the authority. Okay. I guess, that's how I was like, built as a child.
Yeah.
But going through life, like, for better or worse, like, that's pretty much like, my guideline, I honestly believe like, in that, cosmic equilibrium. Do good, like, and don't regret it.
Yeah.
Do bad, like, and better watch out. So that's pretty much it. I think it really comes down to doing the right thing when nobody's watching.
Yeah.
So just follow your heart. Yeah. And if you don't think like, that would be right by you, don't do it to somebody else. It's simple as that.
Yeah. That's a quote I saw about characters doing the right thing when nobody is watching. So that's cool. as an anchor. Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
what that's what I try and live by. So, what would you say was the most important leadership lesson that you've learned over your career, and who did that come from, or was it Uncle?
there's so many people, but to be honest with you, I think one of the common denominators is ability, like, to rise above the occasion and to really, make the right move that is just, fair, and equitable. And I think, like, throughout my career, I had like many experiences, the silly stuff, like, we grew up in HR, how people nickel and dime, like, on bonuses, end of service, this
Yeah.
kind of stuff, like, and then you have, like,
Don't remind me. Don't remind me. We moved
exactly. And then there's always somehow magically, like, there was always this person, like, that would be like, just do the right thing, like, take care of, like, what Paul, like, is owed to, like, make sure it's all right, and that's it, like, so that's the leadership lesson that I take home. Try to look for the long-term impact, because more often than not, you're not representing yourself or your organization. You're representing the people that you stand from, the culture that you come from.
Yeah.
So the stakes are much, much bigger, so make sure that you put your best foot always forward.
Yeah, that imprint that's coming through that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the imprint that you're creating. You're exactly right. So that comes back to what's that's being talked about so much today is purpose driven. The purpose of what I'm trying to do is to make an imprint on other people's lives. And I go back to Web3, the imprint that you folks made of producing that Web3 in Lagos, when you could have gone any place else in the world and did that. That was awesome, because you ignited a flurry of thoughts from people who are going to take that to the next level.
Yeah. No, so that was actually the theme, wake up the lion. So we brought, like, the spark, but the fire, is theirs. We really, like, can't take the credit, like, for what happened.
Yeah.
But I think, like, the key lessons were, like, don't be a consumer, be a builder, create something of your own. Don't simply, like, accept to be, considered as a number. Work out, like, the way where you can build something meaningful, something that you can put your imprint on, and something that you can call your own, especially in this digital space, so there are so many things, that you can create, like, cost effectively. I understand that we all have bills to pay. I understand that it's always difficult to imagine something before it becomes reality, but at the same time, it has to start somewhere. So the other message that we try to send is that the world is much bigger than Lagos. It's much bigger than Nigeria. So stop thinking in the terms of reference and boundaries, that are global, predefined. Exactly. And even that, like, the world is much bigger than the mature economies. Think about, like, other fellow people and professionals in the growth markets. So that's why we are propagating idea of, like, merging of the worlds in the emerging markets, so try to find customers, investors in Indonesia, 200 million plus, Vietnam, almost 100 million plus, so I'm pretty sure you're gonna have a very good fighting chance in reaching out those markets. So it comes down to really, breaking the barriers, wake up the lion.
Yeah, I like the concept. Well, we're doing Future Innovation Summit 3, I think October, but I'll talk with you when I see you next week or week after next, and we'll sit down and talk about it. So, Paul, thank you so much. I know you're busy.
But it's been a real pleasure.
And sitting out, so I'm getting homesick when I look at the background there, but I'll be there in a week.
I'll see you soon.
See you soon, man. Take it easy. Thanks so much, man.
Take care, sir. Thank you for having me here.
Okay,
cheers.
cool,
Bye-bye.
Cool,
Bye.
cool.
Bye.
Thank you.